Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru,
Vaheguru, Vaheguru Ji, Vaheguru Sahib Jio, Har Jug Jug Pagat Upaya, Paj Rakhda Aya Ram Raje, Har Nakas Tusht Har Marya, Prahlad Taraya, Ahankari Anand Ka Pith De, Naam Deo Mukh Laya, Jan Nanak Aisa Har Sevya, Ant Le Chhadaya, Ant Le Chhadaya. Dal Panjan Guru Surma, Vad Jodha, Bahu Parupkari, Bahu Parupkari. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. So last week we talked about the Khalsa, yeah? We talked about why the Khalsa was made, what was the intention, how the ceremony happened, okay? And then really what the Khalsa was intended for, the bigger motive. So it was less about history, there was a bit of history in there obviously, but it was more about the concept. We talked about these concepts, the Khalsa being the pure, yeah, the idea of the spiritual Khalsa. They talked about the Khalsa being the Guru's direct followers. Other people may have different views, but the Khalsa then is only going to follow Guruji. And the saintly soldier ideal, where somebody is, trying to be both saintly and live in the world, fight against injustice. The Guru Khalsa, the actual form of the Guru in today's world. And finally, the idea of the Khalsa being the rulers of the earth. Yeah, destined for future. Some of you guys found that a bit new to you. You never thought the Panth was meant to rule the world. Yeah, and that's something that's true. It's not much talked about in our Panth, but it's definitely the concept of Guru Gobind Singh Ji when it comes up in Bani, right? And then we talked about also these things, what Amrit means, yeah? Janamanash. So your previous family origin is now wiped out. Dharamnash, your previous religion or creed is wiped out. So whatever religion you were before, once you're Khalsa, you're part of the Khalsa only. Karamnash, all your rituals and things that people might follow, they're gone. Bharamnash, which is duality, so focusing only upon the one. So Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, I belong to Vaheguru only. Yeah. And then Shramnash, Shram means your caste. So it should be equal. And then the Panch Pyare were all of different castes. Now we've seen those things creep back into the Panth, yeah? Because maybe we're not letting people focus upon this part, or we're not actually hammering it home again and again and again. Yeah, it's like a kid will take the easy route when they write 0. If you look at somebody who writes A when they're a child, they'll do a circle and they'll do a little line. But that is not how you write A. Yeah, you have to write it like this, otherwise it won't make sense. It won't look right. In the same way, we have to, with our generation ahead, is repeat this again and again and again until it gets drummed into them, yeah? That this is what the Khalsa is meant for, right? So that it's not the case that when you take Amrit, it's meant to then make you, just spiritual only. It should make you totally free of caste. Your affiliation should go. Okay, so this week, we're going to go into what happened from 1699 to 1708, okay? Which is why 1708 is Guru Gobind Singh Ji then becomes Jyoti Jyot, yeah? And Guru Granth Sahib Ji becomes the spiritual guide. Khalsa has obviously already been there, but the Guru Gaddi goes to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And then, so 1708 onwards is Granth and Panth. Okay, those are the two things that are happening with the Guru now. There's two form, Granth and Panth. And then part B of today, we'll be looking at Banda Singh Bahadur period, immediately after Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Then the Misl period, and we'll talk about, you might have heard the small Chota Kalukara, Vadda Kalukara, we'll talk about those, okay? The big and the small Holocaust. And then Ranjit Singh, we'll finish off there, the beginning of his Raj, yeah? The rise of Sarkari Khalsa, okay? So that's going to be effectively up to 1801, yeah? So it's 100 years we're going to cover, right? In this time. So obviously it's not going to be that detailed, but some of the main personalities will come out. Just to remind you, in 1699, our bases in the Khalsa Panth were obviously Anandpur Sahib, where the Khalsa was made, yeah? Obviously that's where Kesgarh Sahib is, that's where the Amrit Sanchar took place. That was previously called Chak Nanaki, then it became called Anandpur Sahib, and it becomes one of the takhts of the Khalsa anyway, yeah? Our 5 takhts, one of them is that. And also, because of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's background and where they lived, Patna Sahib was one of our main bases, yeah, and Paonta Sahib was none of the main base. Is the Pahads. So if you don't remember this and you didn't go through Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time, Paonta Sahib is in Himachal Pradesh, where they wrote a lot of Bani, like Jap Sahib, Akal Ustat. Those were all written there, yeah. And Patna Sahib is way out in India. It's one of the Panch Takhts as well, by the way, and it's in Bihar, yeah. So it's kind of like if you were to see a map of India, Patna Sahib will be out there, way away from Punjab, yeah. Takes a long time to get to Patna. Also, basically this changes from 1699. Why I didn't say at the top that Amritsar, because that wasn't a base for the Khalsa. We'll go through this, but Guru Gobind Singh never goes to Amritsar. Yeah, the Masands have taken it over, and they kind of have taken it away from Sikhi. And during Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time themselves, they don't really engage with it personally. What they do is, in 1699, in June, is they send Bhai Mani Singh, who's now become a Singh. Was Bhai Mani Ji, and then he became Bhai Mani Singh. Said, right, now you go off and you sort out Amritsar, okay? And so the kind of change was happening, yet Maharaj themselves wasn't always taking part in that. Now the thing is with the Khalsa formation, we talked about this last time, is that it threatens the Hill Rajas. First, they try to take Amrit, yeah? They say, give us a special Amrit, that we don't have to take it with the plebs, yeah? We want to take our special, no low caste Amrit for us, yeah? Maharaj says, no, it's not for you. But now we've got these people that are like strolling around saying, we are the mighty Khalsa, they got Kirpans, they got Dastar, they got we're a Sardar, this, Sardar, that. And these guys like, we used to be the kings, our surnames are kings. Now you're Singh. Now all these things walking around with, armed. This annoyed them, and it was a threat for them, okay? Because again, it was against the caste system, and the hereditary caste system was one of the main things that that kind of let the Khalsa work. So the Hill Rajas, they are the kind of like level 2 in terms of power. What you've got is level 1, the Mughal kingdom, and then the Hill Rajas are like the Hindu Rajas that previously used to be the only Rajas, and then they basically got alleged. They had allegiance to the Mughal kingdom, and they sort of worked underneath them. So they accepted they weren't going to be the main guys anymore, but they still maintained some power, but they were more kind of keeping the populace under control as well. So for the kings, the Mughal kings, they were like the second stage of administration. Yeah. Now these guys were Hindu, but being Hindu in those times wasn't really about a religion. It was more of a culture. Yeah. If you were Hindus, because then you were, what caste determined what you did. And these guys were all the warrior caste. Yeah. And then Guru Gobind Singh is saying, Chhatri ko poot ho, Baman ko nahe. Yeah. I'm the son of a Kshatri. And then all the Sikhs are saying the same thing. We are now all warriors. Yeah. So this was a big threat to them, because they were the Kshatri class, the rulers and the warriors. And now there's a whole bunch of people claiming to be the same as them. Yeah. And so they didn't like this. Also, Guru Gobind Singh Ji in their time, even before 1699, had battles with the Hill Rajas. Yeah, in Paonta Sahib, so we talked about that tree. Every leaf on that tree had a hole from when Guru Gobind Singh Ji was hit with the arrow in their stomach. Yeah, the Battle of Mangani. Now, they'd lost every single one, right? The Hill Rajas. So they weren't exactly very happy with their current situation. And so what they did is they convinced Aurangzeb, yeah, that basically the Khalsa was against him and it would destroy him. Yeah. In a way, they weren't too far off. Yeah. But Guru Gobind Singh certainly wasn't planning to invade the Mughal forces. All they decided is, over the long term, right, neither the Mughals should take over India and neither the Hindus should take over India. None of them were deemed suitable for the job. Yeah, they were all divided and they were all thinking about themselves only. And so they created the Khalsa, then take over India, to say these are the people that should rule over it. So the Hill Rajas convinced Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj that, you know what, we need to get rid of the Khalsa first. Yeah, these guys are your real enemies. They're going to destroy the whole system. So actually they do. That's what happens. In 1705, not too far after that, the Mughal forces, led by Wazir Khan and the hill chiefs, these are the Hill Rajas, yeah, they attack the Khalsa, okay, and they come to Anandpur Sahib for this big morcha, you know, and basically from May to December, so we're now in December, so in 1705, is the siege of Anandpur Sahib. So you can imagine that's more than 6 months, yeah, 7 months, or nearly 8 months if you start. 7, 8 months. The Khalsa is pretty much inside Anandpur Sahib. Majority of the forces. Obviously there's places outside, there's pockets of forces, but most of the soldiers are inside Anandpur Sahib. Yeah. And what happens, obviously, you've heard the stories, right? They run out of food. Yeah. They start eating whatever they can. Yeah. Whether it's boiled barks or horses or whatever it is they can get their hands on. They're starving to death. They're very weak. And yet during this time they remain strong. Yeah. Guru Gobind says, keep staying here, don't give up, and they do. The story of the 40 Mukte, yeah, that's when this happens. Okay. That basically these guys, they decide, look, it's too much for us. We can't cope. We want to give up. And the Mughal force at this time are making loads of promises. They're saying, look, why don't you come out of there and we'll give you safe passage. Yeah. Anybody who leaves gets straight safe passage. And they say to Guru Gobind Singh, why not just abandon Anandpur Sahib? What's the need for it? We can all live, we can survive. Mother says, no, just wait out, just wait out. They decide that enough is enough for them. They give up. And they say to Guru Gobind Singh, we want to leave. And there's 40 of them. It's not like one person saying, oh, I can't do it. They gather up a jatha of them, all from the same kind of place. Yeah, and they gather up and they say, we all want to leave. And here is an example, which you might have heard me mention before, is of freedom of choice. Sikh is a freedom of choice kind of religion. Yeah? Because we don't have any punishment for someone leaving their faith. Yeah? There's other religions that have that. For example, there's an ex-Muslim Council of Britain. So a group of people that have left Islam and they've called themselves the ex-Muslim Council of Britain. Yeah? They have a comedy night. But when they talk about, and they support each other. However, no recording equipment is allowed inside there. You can imagine why, right? Because the punishment for apostasy in most Arabian countries is death. Yeah? If you don't believe me, go into YouTube, type in apostate getting his head cut off. Yeah? And it's not very nice to watch. Yeah? They actually do kill people who leave the faith. Even they say, I don't want to be Muslim, I want to become a Christian. Your life is at risk. However, does that happen in Sikhi? No. The example is set by Guru Gobind Singh themselves. They just let them go. All they had to do was sign a letter to say, I'm not your Sikh anymore. And they left. Yeah. However, this is unique because it's not just in peacetime, it's in wartime. Yeah. First, Second World War, you couldn't just abandon the trenches. If you did, you were shot for desertion. Because it was a bad example for other people, wasn't it? Yeah. So they shot young kids, 17, 18-year-old kids that lost their nerve in the Somme. They were shot dead. And yet here, again, in wartime, Guru Sahib says, go. You want to go? Just go. Now, what happens to them is though, and this is something interesting, is that when they go back to their wives, yeah, which is basically why they left. They wanted to carry on living for their family, etc. The wives were so strong at that time. They said, "Tusi banda nahi banna. If you're not going to be a man, then you stay here. We will go and fight." Yeah. So sometimes I wonder, the Sikh women of today, yeah, sometimes we're not really educating our women in that sense, And it's not explain to them, this is what the women were like. The women were the foundation for our Panth, yeah, and they should be still. And in many ways, when you were in Hounslow on Saturday, that was the scariest part, talking to our girls, yeah. Hounslow has got a lot of people that come there on a Saturday, Sunday for shopping, yeah, from the Asian community. And a lot of girls we talked to did not know anything. And it seems that we're not really investing in our women, yeah. We're trying to think of a solution for that. I don't know what the solution is, but we're going to try and do what we can, yeah, just to spend more time focusing upon the women, because I think that the men are sort of easier to get into Sikhi, yeah. The support needs to be there for the women more. So that's the story. So December 1705, very important time. So the 40 Mukte, obviously, it wasn't like they went next day, they came back, yeah. They left, and it was quite a while before they came back. But what happens in December, it's quite an important time, because what's going to happen now is going to be loads of Shahidi Gurpurbs, yeah. Because this is that time. When you go outside and you think, oh, it's getting a bit cold now, imagine Punjab in those times, yeah. How bitterly cold it must have been. Because they're in the foothills of the Himalayas, yeah. There's mist everywhere and it's very cold. And this is what happened during that time. Basically, they had to leave Anandpur, right? But there was 2 times a betrayal on an oath. The Muslims, they said, oh, look, if you go, no problem, we won't attack you. And the Sikhs tested them, yeah? They said, okay. They said, just send out all your goods first, right? And then follow it. And they said, oh, they're going to loot all our goods. So what did they do? They sent out, these wagons full of just rubbish and grass, yeah? Right? And the Muslims attacked those wagons straight away. And they found out it was empty. Twice they tested them. They said, I'm not going to believe these. The third time, they made an oath on the Quran. Yeah? They swore, right? And actually, it was Wazir Khan, this guy, who made a oath on the Quran. But he did it with Aurangzeb's sort of complicity in this, yeah? With his authority. That there's no way we will attack you. If you leave, you have safe passage. So, the Sikhs did a lot of beintis to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Said, Maharaj, take it. This time they're swearing on the Quran. Take it. Let's go. Let's live to fight another day. Maharaj says, okay. So they do it. What happens as soon as they leave, they attack them. The whole party, as soon as it leaves Anandpur Sahib, the river is not far, the Sarsa river, and they had to, basically they were going up to it, and they got attacked, right, by the forces. So they decided to cross the river, in winter, right? No one wants to cross any river in winter, yeah? Freezing cold. They decided to it's the only way they can cut them off and leave them behind, because it's almost suicidal to cross the river, right? So they're not going to really cross after you, yeah? And basically, the Singhs did this. A lot of Guru Sahib's documentation, their Bani, was lost during this time. Now, not all of it was lost, but the compilation of it together. So it was spread out, and then afterwards you see Bhai Mani Singh has to go off and find those pieces again, yeah? Because many times people would scribe things, they would copy them out again and again, and they'd be sent off to different places for safekeeping. But a lot of Bani was lost at that time. A lot of translations of very famous texts, because Maharaj, if you might know about our history, Guru Gobind Singh Ji used to hire, they used to sponsor, I don't know what the word would be nowadays, poets. And a lot of these poets were translating very famous Indian texts into Gurmukhi, yeah, so that there was a cultural change. The Sikhs would learn Gurmukhi, and not only they would learn Gurmukhi for reading Bani, they would learn it, and they would learn the literature of the world, yeah, in Gurmukhi language. So it's basically making this language into kind of a lingua franca for the Sikhs all over. Everybody gets split up in the darkness, in the confusion, in the attack. What happens though, is that Baba Zorawar Singh, who is born November 1696, so this time in 1705, they're about 9 years old, okay? And then Baba Fateh Singh, these are the two younger sons of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. 1699, they were born, and so they're only really about 6 years old, Baba Fateh Singh. Chote Sahibzade go with Mata Gujar Kaur. Mata Gujar Kaur, also known as Mata Gujri, is the mother of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, yeah? The wife of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. They get separated, the three of them. They cross over the river, okay? At the same time, so I don't think they cross over the river. I'm not sure of my geography right now. But basically, they get separated from the rest of the forces. At the same time, I'll talk about it later on. What happens to Mata Gujar Kaur? She goes and they find shelter in someone's house. And then this guy called Gangu comes over, yeah? If you know the videos, you can watch the movies. But basically, Gangu is a Brahmin. He was a servant of the Guru. He used to work in that household. And he promised Mataji, I'll take care of you. Mataji trusted him. And then he basically betrayed her. Yeah? And told Wazir Khan, I've got them. And this is in Sirhind. Okay? So that's the famous place. So Sirhind, wherever it is on the Punjab thing, you work out where they were. But basically, they're taken to Sirhind. And they're sold off. He makes money. He steals all their money first. And then he gets paid off, okay, to Wazir Khan. This is the guy that had basically made that quote earlier, the oath earlier. So he's not really a scrupulous person anyway. Now, unfortunately, we can't go into the detail of this. It's a very emotional period, yeah? But they're kept in a cold tower with no blankets, nothing, yeah? In the freezing cold in December. And they know now, they've been told by Mataji that you're going to become Shaheed now. Okay? They know that's going to happen to them. It's very, very unusual for something like this to happen in those times. Children were not regarded as combatants. Okay? So just bear in mind that when you think, oh well, it was just war. In those times, even then, people had certain morals and certain things that they wouldn't do. But what happens to Chote Sahibzade is, they get asked questions. The Muslim Maulvis at the time are very keen to have them killed. They want to actually strike at Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And they convince Wazir Khan, they say to him, like, don't look upon these children as just children. They are children of a snake. Yeah? So a snake, sap de bache hege, and when they grow up, they're going to become saps. And there's a famous story when they were asked, okay, well, you know, what would you prefer? And they put two teria in front of them, two baskets. One was full of toys and sweets, and the other one's full of shastar and kirpana. I said, which one would you prefer? And they all ran to the shastar. And they took it off them. They said, what would you do if we let you go? And they said, if we were ever given a chance to go, we would go back, we would raise an army, come back and destroy you. Yeah, 6 and 9 years old. So Wazir Khan gave in to the idea, and he, himself ordered it, that they were then told they were going to become shaheed. And there's different stories about this, but some people say they were bricked up from the ground up. But also, I've heard this story, they were actually stabbed, yeah, and then they were actually buried inside that wall. Their throats were cut open. The story goes that they were held down with the person on their knees on their chest, and their throats were slit. So, but you imagine that time when Mataji was preparing those children, for Shahidi. And they went as lions as well. They went into that Wazir Khan's in his court. They wouldn't even bow with their head down. Yeah, they went underneath. They ducked. They kept the door really low. Yeah, to make them bow their head as they walked into the court. And they went in like this, so they wouldn't have to bow down. That was the anak, the kind of unrelentless kind of faith in the Guru, and they're never going to bend their head to anybody. Mata Gujjar Kaur, some people say they passed away when she heard about the Chote Sahibzade, the way they were killed. But also some say she just jumped out of the window, out of the Thanda Burj. Okay, because she couldn't bear to live. Her own grandchildren had been killed in front of her, and she was going to be trapped anyway in that tower. On the other hand, on Guru Gobind Singh's side, on the soldier side, what happens is that the older Sahibzade and about 40 Sikhs, they cross over the river and they get it across to Chamkaur. Now Chamkaur is a very small fort, yeah, very small fort. They get to this place and it's like a resting place, but also then they fortify themselves. And the Mughal forces chase them here. Now what you've got here is thousands and thousands of the Mughals who'd been in siege, right? And now I've got a chance now to kill the King of Kings. This is what they think they're going to do, yeah? So they come in their hordes and they surround this little tower, this little kind of fort. And if you go to Chamkaur, it's not very big, yeah? And there, what happens is that the Singhs now know, okay, we're trapped here as well, okay? We're going to have to go out and, fight the good fight and become shaheed. And they go out in groups of 5. This was their way. They would go out in groups of 5, and each 5 would just kill as many people as they could. The thing is, what you don't know about like this, a lot of us have forgotten about the Sikh martial art. It was taught to us to kill many people. One person takes on many people. That was the idea of it. Now you see Kabaddi, right? You might think Kabaddi is just a Punjabi game. Kabaddi is a Sonchi. It's a martial art, martial game, where one person is trying to fight many people. He's entering into their area. It's got many people. So what does he do? He fights them one by one. He doesn't let himself get surrounded, okay, because he's going to get caught then. Stays on the side or on this side and fights them one by one until he just goes through them in a line. So basically fighting 5 people one by one is 1 against 1 5 times. But 5 against 1, you're going to lose, right? So this is how they would fight. So what they do is they create massive confusion because the 5 of them slip out and they go behind the enemy ranks. They're not taught to fight the first person they meet. They're taught to go behind them. So this person has to turn around, maybe he stabs his own mate, and they go around like that. So they create havoc, yeah, and you don't know where they've gone, whether you've caught everybody or not. So this was the tactic that they used, and they held off these people for a long time, but it comes down to the point where, Baba Ajit Singh, who's 17, 18 years old, says, I want to go as well. Now here, I've said this to you guys before, but when you reach 16, in the old days, they say, you're a man now, And the same when it came to a woman as well. That you're an adult, 15, 16, you're an adult. So you make your own choice. So Baba Ajit Singh, he made his choice that he's going to go out. And Guru Gobind Singh was very happy to have his son go out that way. The story goes that they, Baba Ajit Singh, he asked, and Maharaj was again at the top of the fort, and they said, look, when you go out, make sure you do a jakara. When you see the last time has come, and Guru Gobind Singh themselves joined that jakara, the Baba Ajit Singh was shaheed. And same then Baba Judar Singh said that I want to go. So they were 14 years old and they had to ask permission from their father. Because in those days, they were not allowed, normally that child would be a child, but they asked permission. Maharaj says that I'll be, Chardi Kala. And Baba Jadar Singh then, again, there's many Kavishris, many Tadiwar about this period. And it's important for us to remember that this is not it's not somebody else's history, yeah? It's our father's history. These are our brothers. And at 14 years old, Baba Jadar Singh was Shaheed as well. Now, what happens is that Guru Gobind Singh Ji is now ready now for all of them to become Shaheed. Yeah? And the Singhs say no. Yeah? That Maharaj, this is not going to happen. And they do a benti. They don't just do a benti, they do a Panj Pyare di Ardas to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Yeah, they say, Maharaj, you have to go. You have to escape this place, because it is possible within the confusion for someone to get away. So they, Maharaj, you have to. So the benti is accepted by Maharaj, because it's a hukum of the Panj Pyare. The Khalsa can order the Guru at this time, because the Guru Gobind Singh Ji is now part of the Khalsa. So Maharaj has to take off his kalgi, and Bhai Sangat Singh is dressed up as Guru Gobind Singh Ji, looked familiar like Guru Gobind Singh Ji a bit as well. And so Bhai Sangat Singh is dressed up as Guru Gobind Singh Ji, so that he's prominently walking around, and people can see that Guru Gobind Singh is still there. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj dresses up, dresses down effectively. But as they escape from the fort, because of what they were like, they actually clapped many times and told everybody, the Guru of the Khalsa is going. Come and catch me if you can. Yeah. So they let them have another go. But Maharaj still got out of there. And also from the ones that were there, Bhai Daya Singh, Bhai Taram Singh and Bhai Man Singh, these three Sikhs, they also left Chamkaur di Gadi. Everybody else was Shaheed. Yeah. Notable person who was Shaheed at this time was Pandit Lal Singh. Yeah. He was a guy who would become a Sikh of Guru Harkrishan Sahib Ji, when Guru Sahib had blessed him to give the earth, to hear the earth of the Gita from Chhaju. Yeah. And so the people didn't distinguish. And Lal Singh was Shaheed in Chamkaur di Gadi with the Avade Sahibzade. So now basically the Sikhs, the Bhai Dharam Singh, Bhai Daya Singh, remember these are the Panj Pyare, the original Panj Pyare, yeah? These two, the first two, and Bhai Man Singh, they didn't leave with Guru Sahib, so they got separated. So during this period now, Guru Gobind Singh Ji is alone. And one story that I heard, which I thought is important to bring out here, is again about the women. There was a Bibi in that area who'd heard about the Shaheediyah of the Singhs, and she actually, after the battle was over, she came down to Chamkaur and she gathered up all the bodies of her brothers. Yeah? And she had a big fire. She burnt. The problem is by her doing that, this fire, the smoke went out for ages, went out for miles. So the Mughals came back. And when they found her, they threw her on top of the fire as well. Yeah. Now, 1705, Guru Sahib leaves Chamkaur. In this time, they sleep in the Machhiwara jungle. Okay? There's a famous Shabad about this time. You've got to remember, there's lots of stories about this period in time, yeah? Some Tadiwars are, there was the idea that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, after that battle was over, and they could have gone back. And they said, I'm not going to pick up the bodies of just my sons first. Yeah? That they would treat the bodies of the Khalsa equally. Yeah? And they basically, and they're sleeping in Machhiwara, they have nothing. No pillow. So, the famous story, when you see Guru Gobind Singh Ji's picture lying down on the ground, that's from that time when they're lying with a rock for a pillow. But, to understand that Shabad is important to understand, just imagine Guru Sahib is cold, yeah? It's winter in Punjab. They're sleeping at night, bitterly cold. Now you might want a Rajai at that time, innit? Yeah? That's what you would ask for, innit? You ask for a nice house and a Rajai. Yeah? Maybe a glass of water because they're thirsty. So now read this Shabad now in that line. Yeah? Mitra pyare nu, to my beloved friend, Hal Murida da kehna. Murid means a Sikh, a servant. Yeah? Servant means Sikh. Maharaj says, Mitra pyare nu, Hal Murida da kehna. Tudd bin, without you, I grew, Rog Rajaya da Odin. Putting on Rajaya is like a disease. Nag Nivasa Narena. A house is like living in a snake's house. And later on, they talk about what a pani would be like. Sulusrahi Khanjar Pyala. That a pyala of pani is like a knife into my heart. Yeah? Because why? You might think, why am I saying these things? Because the hukum of Waheguru is that they have to suffer this. The hukum of Waheguru is that they have to be in the cold, without water, without rajai. Now they were not the kind of person to go against the hukum. Tera kiya, meetha lage. Yeah. So Maharaj is saying, "Main thonu chhad ke, if I left your hukum, because hukum is Waheguru. Waheguru is a hukum, same thing. That's their hukum. If I left your hukum and I brought my desires into it, then I would leave you, I would leave the naam. Because naam is also hukum as well. I would leave the naam and I would be looking after my ego. And that means I'll be separated from you. Tudh bin rog, rajaya da udan, nag nivasa da rehna." And say, "Yarde da sanu sattar changa." They say, for the beloved, I like to just leave. I like this dirty, this ground, this hard ground. Oh, yarda hega, I'm happy with that because he gave it to me. Yeah. Now what happens is that in that time, Maharaj, and after this period when they're in Machewada jungle, they then get reunited with the three Singhs and they're given shelter by the Muslim Pathans. So bear this in mind, right? When we start thinking about, oh, we're against Islam and all that kind of stuff, yeah? We're not against Islam. Yeah? This is a misconception. Right? At this time, they're helped by the Pathans, Nabi Khan and Ghani Khan, who are followers of Pir Buddhu Shah. And Pir Buddhu Shah's sons had fought with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Their sons had become shaheed in this time. Yeah? So these are people that are close to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, but they're not of the Sikh Dharam. Yeah? But what are they? They're on our side, innit? They're a side of righteousness against unrighteousness. So Pir Buddhu Shah's followers, Nabi Khan and Ghani Khan, give Maharaj help. They dress him up. Maharaj opens his hair down, the star on top, like a Sufi, and they're called, they say this is Uchda Pir. Uchda Pir is a very famous spiritual Sufi. And they carry him on their shoulders and they go out this way. Yeah? And they go up to a place called Dina. Now everybody is then told that now it's a safe place now, and everybody is then told Guru Gobind Singh Ji is alive. Yeah? Because what are the Mughals been telling? Oh, Guru Gobind Singh is being killed. Because Bhai Sangat Singh had become shaheed by this time. Yeah? So at this place, at Dina, Guru Gobind Singh Ji is then informed. Obviously they already knew, but they're informed by the Sikhs that your Chote Sahibzade become shaheed. And this is the key thing for us to remember, because Maharaj says these words. Maharaj says, "Char mueta kya hua, jeevat kai hazar." Yeah? Their wife asked him, "What happens to my sons?" It's a great, I remember in Diwar, where they said, "Ki hun main vyah nahi karna apne mundiyan da." When they were asked before, they go, they're going to marry death. Yeah? When it was time for them to get married, Maharaj knew they were going to give their family up. When they took Amrit 1699, they were asked, "What are you going to pay? What's the price you're going to pay?" They said, "I'll give my whole family up." So Maharaj knew this was going to happen. And the idea is that they looked for Sikhs. Guru Gobind Singh Ji does not value buildings. They don't value books. Yeah? They value Sikhs. That's their thing. Sikh hon. They're bache. On a separate incident from all this, during this time, is what's happened with my Pagoji and Forty Mukte. Yeah? My Pagoji, as I said, they had left, these guys had left. When they went back to the village, the women said to them, "You put on our banga, you put on the bangles, yeah? You stay at home, we'll go and fight if you can't fight." They were ashamed that why had they abandoned their guru. They stood up. And Mata Kaur, she was married as well. Yeah? She said, "No, even if you guys go, I'm still going to go as well." Yeah? And she becomes like a general. She leads these guys back into battle. Yeah? And they fought against Wazir Khan's army. And they actually all became shaheed. All 40 of them. Now Guru Gobind Singh comes across them. Yeah? Because obviously they knew this was going to happen. This was going to be one of those events. Now sometimes people say, how did this happen? Coincidence. You've got to understand, there is no coincidence in Sikhi. There's no luck in Sikhi. Yeah? Everything is part of the hukum. Somebody asked a question this week. They said, "Oh, the Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj, why do they stay in the village? You know, why do they stay in that village rather than go and help the Sikhs? Why do they go underground? No one could find them." But even when they were underground, they were helping Makhan Shah, weren't they? Makhan Shah was doing ardas to Guru Harkishan Sahib Ji, but Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was holding up his ship. Yeah? So Guru Sahib is always there, and Guru Sahib comes across the 40 Mukte who are lying down, and they say, they find Bhai Maha Singh is still alive, Bhai Mahan Singh, Bhai Maha Singh, and they say, "Bhai Maha Singh, you've redeemed yourself. All of you have redeemed yourself. Yeah. And Maharaj, they said this, I'll give you any boon you want. Any boon. And they say, Maharaj, one request, rip up that letter. We all died now, let us not die now. We go to Dharamraj, we're going to have our signature on that piece of paper saying we left you. Maharaj says, I kept it with me. All the time they kept it and they ripped it up. And that's all they asked for. That the Guru Sahib isn't naraz with them. So they are given mukti. All of them are blessed then with liberation from life and death. And that Gurdwara now, Muktsar, is on that place of that battlefield where the 40 Mukte were found. Now I know I said Maha Singh's name, but sometimes people think, I don't know about this history. We got the names of every single one of those 40. Yeah? A lot of our history has been written down and recorded. It's not the case that we don't know our history. Just where we are now, our parents don't know our history. Our grandparents don't know our history. Yeah? But we have our history recorded. Mata Pak survived the battle of Muktsar. And she became a leader. And in fact, she became a personal bodyguard of Maharaj. Yeah? She became a general. And she was like, she's probably a big lady. Have you seen some Punjabi women that really big as well? Yeah? I can imagine she's probably a proper warrior. So she became a bodyguard of Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj. Now what happens? Okay, so now this is 1705 December. Come January time, okay, we're gonna we over this period now. We've done this. You're going to go to a lot of Shahidi programs over the next couple of days. Yeah, bound to be. Chote Sahibzade, Vade Sahibzade. Yeah, even Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Shahidi it was in winter as well. Yeah, it's coming up next week. But what Guru Gobind Singh Ji has to do now is re-establish the Panth. Yeah, so what they do is they go to Damdama Sahib in Sabo Ki Talwandi. They go there and they spend 9 months there. Damdama means taking a break. Dam lena. Dam means a breath. So this is a place where they rested. In that place, they were there, and the plan was to teach the Sikhs Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Because a lot of the time people have been travelling here and there fighting, they hadn't had the time to actually get their Santhya right. And one thing you might have heard about is that story, but there was a Sikh once reading O Ankar Bani. And in O Ankar Bani, there's a line which is dangerous to say because you can get it wrong. But basically it goes a bit like this, that they say, I forgot the line, sorry. But another bit that he got wrong, and it was Kya Jane Guru Sura. Yeah? Karte ki mit karta jane, kya jane Guru Sura. And what he said is Ke jane Guru Sura. Which the translation, because he didn't say, like you got the lav and dulav, yeah? If you know how to read Gurmukhi. There's A and there's A. So there's a difference, and he didn't know how to pronounce it. Effectively what he said is, what does the Guru know? Instead of saying, the Guru knows the extent of God. Said, only God knows his own extent, or the Guru knows. And instead he said, only God knows an extent, what does the Guru know? Yeah? Because of that little intonation change. And so he was given slaps. Guru Gobind Singh told the Sikhs to go give him a slap for saying it wrong. Yeah? Now you might say, oh that, sometimes you got to understand, Guru's our father and our mother. Jithe anu paldaya, like a mother, like a father, he gives a few slaps as well. Yeah? So don't be, like sometimes we become too soft. We expect our Guru to always be soft and nice to us. But sometimes we need a bit of a kick up the proverbial, yeah? To get on with it. And many times I think, a lot of people I've met could be given a bit of a slap as well. Yeah? Just to start behaving themselves. It's almost like they got no fear in them anymore. Yeah? Guru Gobind Singh Guru's always going to forgive me, so I'm going to carry on messing up. But basically at this time, Guru Gobind Singh had promised the Sikhs that when the time comes, I will teach you the meaning of Bani and how to pronounce it properly. Santhya. That's what Santhya means. If you see a class called Santhya class, that means how to pronounce Bani. Doesn't mean how to understand it, just means how to pronounce it properly. Okay? Now, at Talwandi, this is what Maharaj does. However, Guru Gobind Singh is going to write the entire Guru Granth Sahib Ji now. The reason they have to write it is because in Kiratpur Sahib, right, was the original bead in Kirtarpur Sahib was the original bead of Ad Granth that Guru Arjan Dev Ji had composed, which is 95% the same as Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The original bead is Kartarpur wali bead, yeah? That had been kept by, I think, Tirmal, who is the son of Guru Guru Har Rai or Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, Guru Har Gobind Singh Ji, one of the two. Basically, he'd basically taken qabza of that, and he'd been a bit upset that the Guruship hadn't gone to him. Basically, he says to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, if you are the Guru, then write it yourself. Yeah. Obviously, in the video, I'll put the right name in. Yeah. But he says, if you are the Guru, yeah, then do it yourself. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji then, in Damdama Sahib, performs a little bit of a miracle. Well, it's not a miracle for them because they could do anything, but for us it's like nice to know this. That they did the whole Guru Granth Sahib Ji then from memory or direct revelation again. So every day, this was the name of there. Nitnem, after Nitnem, Guru Gobind Singh would sit down and recite Bani. Bhai Mani Singh would be writing it down. Once the Bani had been recited, the pronunciation was taught and the Katha was done as well. So those Sikhs that were there, 50 odd Sikhs that were there, they all got the Santhya and the Katha of Guru Granth Sahib Ji from Guru Gobind Singh Ji themselves. Can you imagine how deep that must have been, yeah? Over 9 months, yeah? And this carried on, and then in the end, Bhai Mani Singh was a scribe, by the way, and Baba Deep Singh was his support scribe, okay? And the whole Guru Granth Sahib was completed, but also Guru Gobind Singh Ji adds then the Saloks and the Bani of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, their father, okay? So Slok Melanova is right at the very end. So whenever you go to a Khandapad Bhog, there will be Slok Melanova, yeah? And it's got a very particular tune to it. Saloks are like rhyming couplets, so you get 2 lines and they both rhyme, yeah? Even the one at the beginning we read out, which was Jatan bahut main kar rahe ho, mityo na man ko maan, durmat syo nanak padyo, raak leho Bhagavan. Just to give you a clue of some ones you've already heard, some things you've already heard Slok Melanova. You've heard the translation, Peh kahu ko det neh, neh peh manat aan, kahu nanak har pajmana, no. Kaho Nanak sunre mana gyani tahe bakhan. That don't give fear to anybody and don't get scared yourself. That's a true gyani, somebody who has wisdom. Yeah, you've heard these things. Mara, and even the one about the dream. The world is like a dream. Yeah. So basically, it's all put together. Guru Tegh Bahadur's Bani is put inside, and now Maharaj seals it off. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji was given the Gurgaddi in 1708, the actual ceremony, but in 1705. The full form was completed. Okay. In the Vaisakhi fair of 1706, yeah, about 10,000 to 100,000 people, big number of people took Amrit. Yeah. So the Panth is now back up in Chardikala. We've got loads of people, yeah, back in. And imagine during this time, you know, they say that those people that heard the Katha and Santhya from those 50 people, very few were left. They got so much in ecstasy. They just went out to Sachkhand. They just they just decided to leave their bodies. At the end of it, you know, he's saying, I'm so happy right now, I wish I could die. It can't get any better than this. Yeah? They literally did. They decided, they got in so much ecstasy, they decided, that's it, Hor nahi jeena, bas. And they actually gave up their pran, and some of them were brought back. Guru Gobind Singh Ji wouldn't let Bhai Mani Singh or Baba Deep Singh go. They had to come back and stay. But a lot of them actually just left there and then. Yeah? They were just in divine bliss. What happens next is Guru Gobind Singh Ji receives a letter from Aurangzeb, right? Talking about kind of some terms or etc., whatever it was, yeah? Or inviting him to come and meet. Maharaj says, you know, Maharaj gets annoyed about this because they're Chote Sahibzade. This was a very wrong thing that had happened to Chote Sahibzade. Guru Gobind Singh writes a letter back to Aurangzeb, about the quote on the Quran, about their children, and also about how they had been surrounded in Chamkaur di Gadi, yeah, and what chances they fared, about their sons as well, yeah. All their 4 sons had been killed because of this quote on the Quran that he had taken, and they write a letter back to Aurangzeb, very famous letter called Zafarnama, yeah. Zafarnama means a letter of victory. Yeah, I've won. Now look at this. Guru Gobind Singh Ji is probably being offered peace terms that your sons have been destroyed, yeah. We've destroyed Anandpur Sahib. We've taken over all your territory. Yeah, why don't you surrender? Come into our fold, or you know, build up some kind of peace terms. Maharaj says, "I've won," and they gave him such a slap verbally. If you read that letter, you see Maharaj first starts off. This is what I was talking about in that video to that guy. They start off in Persian. Right? It's all in Persian, by the way. It's written in Persian. It was then transcribed into Gurmukhi. So what we see now is like the English romanization version of Gurmukhi. Yeah? It's actually not pronounced that way either. It's kind of like the closest we could get, in Gurmukhi, but it's actually pronounced in Persian. Now, in Persian, they tell him, they talk about Waheguru at the beginning. The first 10 to 12 verses I put up here, first 12 verses, they're all about Allah. Praises of Allah by Guru Gobind Singh Ji in Persian. Yeah? Amazing. But they establish who they are, innit? No one who could write something like this would be a man, not a man of God. Yeah? They establish who they are and how their authority stems from. That they are a Peer. Yeah? They are the light of God. And then they say these words. They say, I have no faith in your oaths, even if you say God is my witness. Anyone who trusts your quote on the Quran will be ruined. You have no faith, no care of religion, you don't know God, you don't believe in Prophet Muhammad. Aurangzeb was a religious fanatic. He valued himself on this. And Maharaj just rips him apart. Yeah? And he actually suffers from this letter quite a lot. Yeah? His response, he feels very miserable. He writes another letter. Yeah? He's scared. He asks Maharaj, come to meet me. Guru Gobind Singh said, look, whatever that was, there was a mistake. It shouldn't have happened that way. He tried to blame it on Wazir Khan, blah, blah, blah. And he said, let's meet up together. But in the meantime, he actually died. Yeah? Aurangzeb died. His son comes up now in power. Okay? Bahadur Shah. And he was called Muazzam or Shah Muazzam before. Shah in that way becomes like Prince. Yeah? Prince Muazzam. And he's now the new ruler, 1707. Now, here's the funny thing about Shah Muazzam, yeah? Bahadur Shah. He'd actually said to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, yeah, that I'm going to help you. Muazzam Shah, sorry, I spelled that wrong. He'd written to Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, said, I promise I'll be very tolerant. I'm not going to be this fanatic of a Muslim like my father was. Yeah, and he asked for help. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji helped him, right, against his brother Tara Azam. Yeah, and he'd sent a force under one of the Panj Pyare. Now imagine, look, at this time, he'd actually sent soldiers, Khalsa, they were fighting for Bahadur Shah to become the king against his own brother. Now he helped him get into power. But what does he do then next? 1707, they met him in Agra. They had a meeting. Now, Agra, Taj Mahal, that area. He is called by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Hind ka Peer. Hind is not Hindu, by the way, just so you know. Hind was India. Yeah? He's called the Guru of India. Right? What he says, listen, what's better then? Shah Muazzam said to Maharaj, what's better, Islam or Sikhi? Maharaj says, Tumko tumhara khoob, humko hamara khoob. Khoob means beautiful, khoob surat, beautiful face. Yeah? Maharaj says, yours is beautiful to you and mine is beautiful to me. Yeah? This is our principle, okay? By our Guru's own mouth. Yeah? We don't go around telling people, so we're not here to prove other people to be wrong. We could do it. There's loads of people that do all the research. We could spend all day ripping into them. But what's the difference then? One more thing I want to bear you in mind, right? The Khalsa is going to be the ruling power. The ruling power has to be impartial. It's not meant to take sides. Yeah? Only a ruling power will become impartial. Imagine now, tomorrow, Prince Charles, yeah? What's he called now? Defender of the faiths. Not faith, of faiths. He chose to change his own title. Imagine if he starts criticizing a religion. It'd be wrong, innit? Yeah? Or if Cameron decides to start criticizing a religion. He can't do it. Why? What's different about him compared to somebody else who could do it? It's because he's in charge. Yeah? So it makes a difference. The person in charge should be impartial. And that's how we should be, because we are meant to be in charge. Right? We can't behave like a person who's partisan. We have to behave like the ruler. Only then we'll be worthy of ruling. Maharaj, however, still never goes to Harmandir Sahib. It's still messed up, that place. Yeah? They head south to Nanded. Yeah? It's hard to write it in English, by the way, Nanded. But they go down south, it's in Maharashtra. Okay? This is now Hazur Sahib. Okay? It wasn't called Hazur Sahib then. It was built up after them. But they go down south. Now, when they're in down south, they meet. I'm going to after this, we're going to find the Jyoti Jyot, then we'll have a break, okay? So we get to this part. When they're there, they meet then the famous person, Banda Singh Bahadur, who is going to become Banda Singh Bahadur. But at this time, he's Madho Das. He's a Bairagi. So when you hear about him, you hear about Madho Das Bairagi. Bairagi means someone who's left the world. Basically, he was from a rich family. He was a warrior. He'd been trained as a warrior. And Well, basically what happened is, you know, like when he'd basically committed some kind of sin. I think he'd actually shot. It's very similar to another famous Bhagat, where he'd shot an arrow and it killed a pregnant deer. Yeah, and when he saw that he'd killed a pregnant deer, 2 lives, he felt very forlorn, and he felt that he had to just leave the world to repay that sin. In those days, people took their religion a bit more seriously. Yeah, right. Nowadays you go, moving on. Yeah, and so basically he decided to just give up everything. Yeah, and became a Bairagi. But because of how strict he was, he basically developed loads of occult powers. In that area, people feared him. They feared him because if he cursed you, it would come true. He had a lot of power. Guru Gobind Singh Ji strolls right into his stronghold. He's out. Yeah, they stroll right in with all the Sikhs, and he had a kind of a special kind of room where he would, you know, and no one's allowed inside. Maharaj goes and sits inside his bed, just chilling there. Yeah, they knew what was going to happen. They had to meet him. He had to come on board. But he comes back. He sees Guru Gobind Singh on his thing. Understandably, he goes a bit like, what's going on here? And he basically challenged Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, tried to use all of his powers on them. Yeah, trying to get them off the bed, control them, whatever it was. Yeah, and none of it worked. Basically, he was like a spent, battery. Just couldn't do anything to Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj. Just sitting smiling at him like, "Tu try kar la apni puri hai na, jo lala." It's not going to happen. Yeah. And finally he fell at their feet and he realized he couldn't do anything. He realized who he was talking to. And then Maharaj showed him something very interesting. They showed him his previous guru. His guru had passed on. Yeah? And they said, look, go to that tree over there. Oh, the kidi dekhi uthe. Bring that kidi here. And he brought that kidi back and he goes, look carefully at that kidi. Yeah? And it was his guru. His guru had come as an insect, because he was still attached to his student, come as an insect in a tree near him. He goes, that's your guru, where are you going to go next? Because you need a guru who's already mukt in it. Aise guru ko bal bal jaiye, aap mukt mohe tare. Why would you want to become a Sikh of a guru who's not also got mukti? He's come back as an insect. Tusi bhi dubna hi hega fir. Innit? The guru kirpa is what gets you out. Don't think you can do it with your own effort. Karmi aave kapda nadri mokh dwar. The kapda you might get some kind of honor from your own actions, but really you don't get mukti. Mukti only comes from kirpa. So Maharaj then fell at Guru Gobind Singh's feet and said that he said basically, "Main Banda hai." Maharaj says, "Whose Banda are you?" And he goes, "I'm your Banda." Banda means slave. Yeah. So Banda Bahadur was basically given that nickname. His real name though was Guru Gobind Singh. Okay, Guru's kirpa. Basically, bakshish is kirpa, forgiven by the Guru or blessed by the Guru. That was his name. What he gets told though, because he was a warrior when he was young, yeah, and he was quite, he had a lot of power, a lot of charisma, and a lot of sort of force. He was then blessed that now you're going to do something big. And what was that? Because Bahadur Shah had promised Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj that for your sons, and what happened in Sirhind with my father, Wazir Khan would go down. Wazir Khan had carried all this out, Chote Sahibzade, yeah, and the oath in the Quran. So he would get taken out, and he would give him to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, yeah, for justice. He didn't. He backed out. In fact, what they did is even worse. Pir Buddhu Shah, remember his followers had helped Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, yeah, and his sons had fought on Guru Gobind Singh Ji's side, on their side, and become shaheed. He is then hung as a rebel, and his family is also, suffers. So basically, and he gets told that the Guru Gobind Singh gets told that they're now going to attack you as well, probably next. They've already attacked Pir Buddha Shah, they're going to come for you next. So Maharaj says, enough is enough. And they basically said to Banda Singh Bahadur, here's your mission now. Your mission is, go out there, go to Wazir Khan in Sirhind, destroy Sirhind and destroy Wazir Khan. Yeah. It wasn't like so enough to go and make peace with them. All means have already failed now. Yeah. And it is righteous now to pick up the sword. And Maharaj says, go, do it. And his mission, alongside his mission, he's given 5 arrows. Okay. That's the nishani. But Maharaj says, now when you're going to travel back, because remember they're in Maharashtra, and they're going to travel all the way back up to Punjab. Yeah. It's a big journey. It's going to take months. It takes them a year. He says, I'm going to give you a nishani. So when you meet people and they say, how have you got the power of Guru Gobind Singh Ji? How have you been given this mandate? That you can show them this. They give him 5 arrows, a nagada. A nagada is that big drum, yeah, kettle drum, and a nishan, yeah, a nishan sahib. Also, they gave him Panj Hazuri Singhs. Now, this is important to understand what the word Hazuri comes from, yeah. Hazuri means in front of the Guru. Guru de ale dole, yeah, all the way around them. So the Hazuri Sikhs were Sikhs that stayed with Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Yeah, like you might see anybody, they might have like their close mates, and they got the people that are further away. Yeah, and the Hazuri Sikhs always stayed with Guru Gobind Singh Ji, so they knew them closest. Yeah, and Hazuri Ragis are those ones that do kirtan in the takht, because they stay around that takht. Yeah, so Hazur Sahib also comes from the same place. Sahibzade Hazur. Yeah, Hazur Sahib means in the presence of Waheguru, of Guru. Yeah, so they sent the Panj Pyare were given to Banda Singh Bahadur. There's a lot to learn from this. Yeah, Banda Singh Bahadur is Jathedar, but there's still Panj Pyare above him. But they're going to listen to him, but also they're going to counsel and guide him. Yeah, so Jathedar has to be separate from the Panj Pyare. Yeah, because there's got to be somebody who tells him off as well, right? In case he goes off. 25 soldiers are given on top of that, okay, and a hukumnama, written hukumnama from Guru Gobind Singh to him to say, go, you have my authority. All the Sikhs should listen to you on your way up to Sirhind. So they make their move, and this grew to thousands. Yeah, on the way up, basically you can imagine, right? You're in a little village, you've heard about Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and along comes Banda Singh Bahadur with his, soldiers, and they say, we're gonna go to Sirhind. Now, what does Sirhind mean? Just so you know the meaning. The top of Hind. Sir means the top. Hind. The top of India. It's basically the border of India and into Pakistan, Kashmir, those areas, which are the Mughal areas. Yeah. So now this is like the top. So basically, they're going to go to the main staging post, and they're going to wage war on the Mughal kingdom. And a lot of people are like, yo, let's join up. It's going to be a great adventure. Yeah. And they do join up. And Banda Singh Bahadur takes his forces. It takes them a year, as I said earlier. During this time, I'm going to go back to that in a minute. During this time, in Hazur Sahib, which wasn't because of Hazur Sahib back then, it was just Nanded. Yeah. At that time, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj is attacked by some Pathan assassins. Wazir Khan, thinking that I've got to get rid of Guru Gobind Singh Ji, he might come for me, quite rightly. He decides to send his own assassins to kill Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Yeah, they come and they stab Guru Gobind Singh Ji in their sleep. Maharaj, at the same time though, chops one there and then. Yeah, kills one there and then, and the other one is then caught by the Sikhs and killed as well. Yeah, what happens though is that they get wounded. Okay, and that wound does not heal properly. Maharaj goes and tests. Now you might say, well, why did they test it? But they knew their time was come. Yeah, so it was all part of the care. And they picked up a big bow, right, and they tested it. And as they tested it, the wound that was sealed up, it ripped open and it started bleeding. It's very hard to stitch a wound that's already been ripped, because the stitches rip as well. And it becomes harder to stitch that as it keeps on bleeding and seeping. So Maharaj now knew that was it for them. That was the end of their time. Anyway, and they basically, there's different stories, Jyoti Jyot. They like going back. One is that they rode away into the never to return. The other one is that they rode into a fire. That she got on a horse and rode on top of a fire, and the fire they just merged into fire. Literally, their body wasn't found. The body just merged with fire and disappeared. But there is no samadhi. There's no place you can say this is what happened. Yeah, they requested that there be no kind of physical place that says this is where Guru Gobind Singh Ji passed away. Okay, and it still isn't any place for that. However, Hazur Sahib then gets built after they leave. Yeah, and in fact, Ranjit Singh, it becomes one of the major sponsors of this. And Guru Gobind Singh said, whoever builds a monument to me, after I go here, will be ruined. But Ranjit Singh knew about that, and he still did it anyway, and he was in fact ruined. Yeah, so that was their bhajan. Now what happens? What they do at that time, before they Jyoti Jyot, they actually bring all the Sikhs together, and then they get Guru Granth Sahib Ji there, which is precaution. They wrote it themselves with Bhai Mani Singh, and they actually do the same ceremony that we've talked about during all this time. They bow down to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, coconut, Panj Paise. They go around Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Parkarma, and they now say to the Sikhs, that this is your Guru now. Yeah. Sab Sikhan ko hukum hai, Guru maniyo Granth. Yeah. So Guru Granth Sahib Ji comes to Guru, and also they say from now on it's going to be those two things. Before it was the Panth. Panth was the Guru before the Guru Granth Sahib Ji became the Guru. I want you to understand this concept, yeah? That the body is made first and then the light is put inside it. The body is a Khalsa and the Granth is a light, Jot of the Gurus, yeah? So Guru Granth Sahib Ji is made this way and it becomes a Guru in 1708 this is, yeah? And basically from then on the Sikhs have always seen Guru Granth Sahib Ji as their guide. And what they say is in their bachan, because it's written down as well, they say if you seek my advice, go to Guru Granth Sahib Ji and take a Hukamnama. Yeah? A lot of Sikhs nowadays, yeah, they don't know about Hukamnama. I'll just do a little quiz here. How many of you know about Hukamnama? Good. Is it you after Guru Granth Sahib Ji class? We did the whole topic 2.5 hours. Basically, you can go to Guru Granth Sahib Ji, you can do Ardas, and you can open Granth Sahib Ji on any, on randomly, and there will be your answer. Now you might say, oh well, I don't know. If you can't get to Guru Granth Sahib Ji and you can't read it, there's another way you can do it. Go to Sikhi to the Max website.com and just press random Shabad. Yeah? And answer will come. I don't need to tell you the miracles I've seen. It's just you see the miracles yourself. Yeah? You ask a question, you will see Maharaj answers you back. Yeah? Bani is our Guru. Imagine, you might think, well, I can't speak to my Guru. It's not true. All you've got to do is do an Ardas. If you can, try and do Panj Paudi of Anand Sahib before. If you can't do it, put the tape on. Yeah? Listen to it, do a little bit of part, do an Ardas, ask Maharaj for some advice, and press the random Shabad, or go to Gurdwara, take a Hukamnama, and you will get great advice. On our channel, you see a lot of times we've done Katha plus Hukamnama after. Why did we do that? Because straight after the Katha there was Anand Sahib, and then there was Ardas, and there was Hukamnama, and we said, well, why don't we listen to what Guru Sahib is going to say next? And what's amazing is how many times it just matches what happened that day. Just matches. Even the one-day course in Southall, it was mind-blowing. We had a one-day course, and at the end of that, Hukamnama came about that whole thing. Yeah, about Guru, basically, following Guru. It was just mind-blowing. So, this is what happens. So we'll have a little break now. I want you just to remember that if you haven't been told this, remember the Granth and the Panth are the Guru. And this is why Guru Gobind Singh said to Banda Singh Bahadur, take the Panj Pyare with you. Okay? Because he was saying, look, I'll be with you if the Panj Pyare are with you. Alright? So, we'll have a little break now.